Welcome to Pandora, kiddos.
Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host, Brian, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Thomas.
Hello.
This week, we're discussing the Borderlands franchise in preparation for the movie adaptation, which is scheduled to release next week.
The 8th.
Yes, the 8th of August, or in the UK it is. So, just a quick thing about the Borderlands games. It was originally intended to be darker and more serious in tone, more akin to Mad Max Road Warrior meets Firefly, the space western. But once the art design settled on the cell shading effect and the rockabilly look became more prominent, the game's story and characters would change to fit this new tone, with dialogue having to be re-recorded. This change in direction allowed for more zany characters, missions and maps. These are all changes made in the last 10 months of the game's development and clearly had a change on its overall franchise. You want to start us off with
Borderlands, 2009.
Have I got a story for you? This is our home. But make no mistake, this is not a planet of peace and love. They say it's a wasteland, that it's dangerous, that only a fool would search for something of value here. Then perhaps I am a fool.
It was directed by Matthew Armstrong, who was also the co-creator, or creator, should I say. Writers, obviously, Matthew Armstrong has been a creator. Randy Pitchford, Simon Hurley, Mike Newman, Christy Pitchford, and Keith Schuler. The plot is focused on a group of 4 vault hunters who travel to the distant planet of Pandora to search for the vault, which is rumoured to contain advanced alien technology and other priceless riches. The hunters piece together clues to find the vault while battling the savage wildlife of Pandora and bandits that populate the planet. They ultimately band together to prevent the Atlas Corporation and its privately funded paramilitary forces from reaching the vault first. Cast is Oliver Tull as Roland and Crom, Julio Cesar Cedello as Mordecai, Colleen Twinkenbeard as Lilith and also Patricia Tammis, Marcus M. Malden as Brick, David Edding as TK Barhart and Claptrap, Rick Spiegel as Zed, Bruce DeBose as Marcus, Brittany Johnson as Angel, Rena Palancia as Mad Moxie, Lani Manella as Steel, Mikey Newman as Scooter, and Randy Pitchford as Crazy Earl. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a good chunk. This game was quite some years old now anyway.
2009.
Yeah, 15 years this year. I don't think they expected much from this game.
No.
I don't know, maybe they did.
Well, it took work from the Aliens Colonial Marines game from around that time and put a lot of the efforts and stuff into this.
But it's not mentioned there, and I never saw it mentioned actually on the Wikipedia page at all. But it's my understanding that the original setup for this game, they were trying to make a Mad Max game.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the ways, even though it credits, I forgot his name as the creator now. He was on the director.
Matthew Armstrong.
Yeah, even though it credits him as the creator, it seems very much like it was Randy Pitchford. Seems to be the one that created the game.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere that it was his idea to actually merge the long story format and leveling up of an RPG with a first-person shooters, fast-paced levels.
Yeah.
He liked the idea of a hybrid of them and didn't know if it would work. And that became Borderlands. So
hiring the Gearbox company, I can't remember what position he had.
Yeah, he was very high up. And I think he went even further after the release of Borderlands.
Yeah. He's the voice of Crazy Earl.
Yeah.
And he's done that throughout the franchise.
Right. A lot of the names do stay on, I believe.
Yeah. Pecky Newman, who voices Scooter, who's also a writer on this.
Yeah.
He wrote the comic books.
Right, okay. Because Edding, who's Claptrap, I think he's on throughout the franchise as Claptrap. Is he not?
No, he's not on 3, but I think he passed away before 3.
All right. We got the first Borderlands, I think, around the time of its release,
Yeah.
or not much after.
Yeah.
And then I want to say we didn't carry on playing it
No.
because we had it on PS3.
Yeah.
But if I'm right, we got it around the time of the start of the PS4.
Yeah.
Or when we got it,
Yeah.
it was nearer to the time of PS4 coming into play.
Yeah.
And then sadly, it just never got its play.
Yeah.
And then it weren't until quite recently, really. I want to say third one hadn't just come out, though.
Third one might out yet. No. 2019-ish, I think. Or 18
But-
when we...
But then that's when we got the Handsome Jack collection, which was Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel packaged together.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, we really enjoy these. So we went back and played. I think I then got the Game of the Year edition, which was a PS4 release
Yeah.
of Borderlands,
Yeah.
and started playing that. Played it all through quite heavily,
Yeah.
at least 2 solid runs.
Yeah.
The first one, I think, now seems a little slow
Yeah.
compared to the others in terms of the shooting aspect.
Yeah.
They build up their pace.
Yeah.
The first one plods along and maybe hasn't aged as well. But I think that's part of the tone shift that this game's had in its development as well.
Yeah.
The slower pace would have fit a more serious tone.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, a new console allows for the faster graphics and
Yeah.
loading of characters into an area and so on to come up. But I quite like the first one's characters. Obviously, you get introduced to the Psychos,
Yeah.
which are a fantastic bunch of villains to just mock through. They're the people that you'll most likely have seen with like a V on their mask. It's an upside down V, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is the symbol of the vault.
Yeah. But the Psychos are pretty mental characters anyway.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to have been prisoners and slaves and stuff by Atlas
Yeah.
before the whole game universe starts, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of backstory and lore. Like, there's characters in this called Sirens, and that's what one of the playable characters, Lilith, is in this one.
Yeah.
I think there can only be 6 at a time.
Yeah.
And their powers vary.
Yeah.
Which is quite an interesting lore, because they're like the chosen one, I guess, and there can only ever be a woman.
Yeah, they're the only ones I think that can use the keys to the vault.
Oh, they seem to be so far.
Yeah.
But there's some really good lore in this. There's like bits of Star Wars. I've already mentioned Mad Max and Firefly. It pulls from all over the place, really, in terms of what it is and what it does.
Yeah.
It's almost like a space opera.
Yeah. Big sci-fi, desert wastelands, whatever they
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
As well, due to the comedic tone.
Yeah.
Kind of parody-esque.
Very parody, pastiche. One of the reasons that we wanted to do this episode was the fact that the film's trailer didn't seem to, what's the word?
Encapsulate.
The audience, yeah. They seem to think it's a rip-off of Guardians of the Galaxy because of its music and so on.
Yeah.
Yet music has always been part of Borderlands' DNA, but mostly in the trailers. The Telltale game definitely made use.
Yeah, the trailers for the games usually have music, and then the opening scenes, the opening cinematics to the games all have music
Yeah.
as well that fit to that scene.
Yeah.
And you know, any of the songs.
No, I never. Cage the Elephant's one of them, one of the bands they use.
Yeah.
I can't remember the song name now, but it's quite a big one. Obviously, the movies leaned into popular music at the time. Well, I say at the time, I mean, it's leaned into
Classics.
yeah, which was once popular, whereas Borderlands seems to be on the fringes of music, trying to get into like a little bit of folk, a little bit of rockabilly, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of the actual genre I'm after now, name-wise. But they really mix it up and looking at more indie-based, lesser-known. I say lesser-known. Cage the Elephant are actually pretty big, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, I don't know. They seem pretty big from what I know of music, anyway.
I don't really follow music.
Neither do I. But I feel like they get bands that are popular, I guess, within the genre.
Yeah.
Because they're working more in subgenres, I feel, with their music than main genres and tent poles, I guess, of music. Is that a term? Tent poles of music?
It is now.
Sweet. I just founded a thing. Do you want to go into the main 4 Vault Hunters you play as in this one? I feel I've done a lot of talking.
So there's Roland, the soldier. He was once a Crimson Lance.
Yeah.
Who were the private military for Atlas. He's a soldier. Is it a soldier type on the first one?
Could be.
It's the class that's in all of them, but changes name. Lilith, as you mentioned, she's the one of the sirens, and she can phase walk, which means she can walk through
Turn invisible.
sight, going into
Yeah.
another dimension.
And later becomes known as the Firehawk.
Yeah, and she's quite powerful later on. Mordecai is the hunter. he has a pet bird-like creature called Bloodwing,
Yeah.
and you can utilize that to attack enemies and get things for you. But my God, it was useless.
The AI was not very good for it, was it? It would just fly around and come back, and you don't really do anything.
You go, oh, sniper, I'll get the high ground, and you go,
Yeah.
Bloodwing, do this, and you look, and Bloodwing just flies around the sky above everyone. No,
Or it's glitched on the side of a wall, like a cliff edge or something.
yeah. It'd never do what you want it to. But when it did, it was great. And then there's Brick, and he's known as a berserker, and
Yeah.
he can get up close and just smash everything with his hand.
Yeah.
He's like hand-to-hand combat.
Facility tank build, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I think you said he was pretty useless.
I found him very difficult to play as.
Yeah. This could just be our gaming techniques and whatnot. But yeah, Brick's a bit of an idiot.
Almost like Hulk.
Yeah.
Go smash over there, Brick.
Yeah, they're the main four. And they pretty much stay with the franchise.
Yeah, but they become non-playable after this one.
Yeah.
Every game seems to just have its own crew of playable characters, and then they're never playable again.
Yeah.
That seems to be the thing the franchise does.
Kind of cool, kind of sad.
Yeah. Shall I jump on to Borderlands 2, or is there more you want to say about the world of Borderlands? Because Pandora, for the most part, seems quite a deserty planet.
Yeah, there's quite a few different...
But as you go on, there's moons and jungles and little... there's not much urban areas, is there, in this?
First one out at 1, and you go back there in 2, and it's kind of abandoned. There's quite a few places you go back to in 2. Right?
Yeah, Firestone's one of the places I think you go back to. But it's not a big urban area, is it? It's just like a small settlement.
Yeah.
That's where I think Zed is, isn't it? The medic guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he gets vending machines eventually, doesn't he? Zeds, Nades.
Yeah.
Shall I go into 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Borderlands 2, 2012.
Handsome Jack. This tyrant will be the end of us all. Pandora's changed. Are you ready?
Directed by Paul Hellquist. Quite a cool name. Written by Matthew Armstrong and Anthony Birch. The plot is set 5 years after the events of the first game. Handsome Jack takes over the Hyperion Corporation. These corporations are normally like all the brands of guns that you encounter in the game more often than not. Declares himself dictator of Pandora and takes all of the credit for finding the vault, going so far as to claim responsibility for killing the Destroyer. Now a new set of Vault Hunters are tasked by the mysterious Angel to kill Handsome Jack and return peace to Pandora, as he is now looking into opening another vault in hopes of gaining more power and possibly ruling the universe. This stars Martha Harms as Mayor, Robert McCollum as Axton, Michael Turner as Zero, John Swayze Salvador, Karima Lee as Gage, Jason Douglas as Krieg. Those last two are DLC characters. Then we've got Damien Clark as Handsome Jack, Colleen Clickenbeard reprising as Lilith Antanis, and now she's also Captain Scarlet. Not to be confused with the classic puppet show Captain Scarlet. Marcus Lloyd as Roland, Jason Liebrecht as Mordecai, Marcus M. Muldin as Brick, David Eddings as Claptrap, Jennifer Green as Angel, Ashley Birch, sister of Anthony Birch, the writer, as Tiny Tina, Bruce DeBose as Marcus, Brina Palencia as Mad Moxie, Chris Rager as Lister Torg, Rick Spiegel as Zed, Mikey Newman as Scooter, Jamie Marchi as Ellie, Randy Pitchford as Crazy Earl, J. Michael Tatum as Sir Hammerlock. He's in the first game as well. Well, the character is anyway. Only a small part of. Amanda Nicole Thomas as Athena. I think I don't know if she does the voice, but that character is in the first game's DLC pack. Stephanie Young as Sheriff Nisha, apparently uncredited. Todd Haberkorn as Wilhelm. Opening thoughts on 2? It's definitely faster paced.
Yeah.
I think they know more now what they are in terms of its comedy and pacing and everything. It's all there. This is the fan favorite game, if I'm right.
They updated the leveling up system. I think everything's a bit smoother.
Yeah.
Then they added 2 DLC characters. I think that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Because Gage was one of my favourites. She's on DLC.
Gage is very overpowered. What's weird is, because obviously we're doing this for the movie, we've mentioned Roland and Lilith, who were in the movie, played by, I can't remember his name.
Kate Blanchett and Kevin Hart.
His name would be Kevin Hart. Yeah. And Kate Blanchett's Lilith. But then we've got Krieg as DLC from 2.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a DLC pack on Borderlands 3, but he's not playable. It's a mission where you're in his head. But he's a character in the team of Vault Hunters for the movie.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember the actor's name, but he plays Dolph Lundgren's son in Creed 2.
Yeah.
He's the young Drago. And I wish I could remember his name. And no, I'm not going to Google it. But he's playing Krieg for the movie. I find it an odd choice that they've chose a DLC character, that's all.
Yeah. Tiny Tina. She's the other.
Yeah, she's not.
She's never playable.
No.
So I don't really know how they chose the Bolt Hunters for the movie.
Oh, well, it's very peculiar in general because it feels like they've only got 3 Vault Hunters and one of them is a DLC character.
Yeah.
Tiny Tina, she assists in the games
Yeah.
for parts. And she's a big part of the lore, I guess, as well to Borderlands. She even got her own spin-off game.
Yeah.
Which we'll discuss a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But this, it definitely felt like they'd found their foot in here. There's a little more space venture to it.
Yeah.
Which expands the game's lore a little. It feels they know more about what sirens are now, with Maya being on the team and having a different set of abilities. And
yeah,
it feels like you actually get a bit more ability as a siren with Maya than what you had as...
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, they updated a lot of it.
Yeah.
The abilities on this one are a lot more...
Yeah, because Roland in the first one just had one turret and he'd drop that out and that would heal you, recharge your ammo, and give you a protective shield as well eventually when you level him up. Whereas Axton on this...
You could put his turret on the walls.
Yeah, you choose where the turret is. I think you could get a second turret as well. And he had other abilities that weren't just his turret, if I'm right. But I'm not sure, I didn't play as him. I played as Maya, which is my recommend. I do not recommend playing as Krieg, although some people seem to love him. I just found him horrible, but I don't think I was leveling him up correctly. I was losing health all the time and always setting on fire. And yes, that is part of his abilities, to lose health. Because he gets stronger the more damage done to him, you see.
But you couldn't seem to get up close.
No, because I didn't like playing as Brick.
No.
I hated playing as Krieg. I felt incompetent and I felt hindered all the time.
You were looking at Gage because she could help pick you up.
Yeah.
Because she has a robot.
Yeah.
Death Trap.
Which is an absolute machine when it's
powered up and runs around killing everything. And you're just like, yeah, it's great.
Something I do like about Borderlands, it's the couch co-op aspect. They're all couch co-op.
Yeah.
Which is great for playing with friends or your brother, because we've grown up loving split screen. So that's a big factor for us. The split screen story makes any game just instantly better.
Yeah, and there just isn't that many of them anymore.
No, they're a dying breed. Something else I like about the franchise as well that I realised going back to play 1, so I guess you'd find that when you play 2, is the fact that the overall story between the games isn't important. Like, you don't have to know what happened in 1 to enjoy 2. They're all pretty much standalone.
Yeah.
If you know more, the more interesting it becomes. Because I'm a big fan of the lore of these games. I like what they do with that. And they build on it little amounts here and there throughout each game. And I particularly like that because I feel the more you learn about Borderlands, the more interesting the world and the gameplay becomes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not interested, you've still got a great casual co-op game that you can just couch co-op and play with a friend when they come round and so on. And they don't have to worry a single thing about what's been going on previous. It's just like, you just want to shoot these guys with me. Or I'm stuck, do you fancy just joining in? Because most of the time, if a second player drops in, because it is a drop-in, drop-out system, they will be to a certain level to help match the host player, which is always player 1. So it's pretty decent in that aspect. 2 had some difficult bosses as well.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not so much the main game bosses. They're normally the big creatures that are hidden around. I forgot what they call them.
Yeah.
They're basically like loads of like hidden bosses around the maps to like get extra loot and so on. And I forgot what they're called, but some have become their own little like side quest. The first one had one that you'd get for completing the game. I can't remember what it's called. And it's a horrible, horrible fight to do. And the best way to do it is standing on a little rock edge off the edge of the map and just jumping up to shoot. Absolute nightmare to do. And what's great is the second game references that in dialogue.
Yeah.
I think it even references how horrible Mordecai's AI bird is at helping in a joke. So I like the fact they're happy to make fun of themselves as well as other things, because they're never so much making fun of other things, but tropes within the genre.
Yeah.
Which is something I think Deadpool fans like of the movies.
Yeah.
The fact that they're willing to somehow bring something from the outside of their world and joke about that in a way.
Yeah.
Which is something Deadpool does, which I'm surprised, because I've not seen anyone talk about this in relation to the film that's coming out next week, is that Tim Miller, the director of the first Deadpool, who's known for video game cutscenes, and he did the amazing cutscene trailer for
Arkham Origins.
with Batman fighting Deathstroke. Yeah,
And does the opening cinematic for the DC Universe Online.
yes, which is another great.
Everyone says it's amazing to watch.
Well, he's picked up the reshoots that's had to be done for Eli Roth's Borderlands movie, which I find quite interesting. So I'm assuming he's more like your second unit director on this. He's doing all the action stuff, I guess,
Possibly.
for all the visual effects work, because that seems to be how he works quite well, because he also directed, is it Dark Fate?
Terminator Dark.
Yes. I mean, there's not a lot to love in there, but he definitely seemed to know how to do the effect stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And there was some good ideas in there. Borderlands 2, again, we've said it's fan favourite.
Yep.
I think a lot of people love the villain of Handsome Jack, and he is a fantastic, fantastic character. They love him so much, they've had him stick around by wanting to bring him back in other things, which is great. He's such a fun character. Shall we move to the next?
Can do.
Here?
Borderlands, the pre-sequel from 2014.
Things are gonna get a lot better around here once I'm in charge.
Yeah! Things are about to get awesome! High five! Or, not.
There's no director listed for this one. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Right.
Writers Anthony Birch, Kristen Carla, and Boris Suckling, and then the senior writers Merritt Walton and Walt Williams. The plot, it's set between Borderlands and Borderlands 2, hence pre-sequel.
I get it now.
Yeah,
Clever.
it is it. Aspiring Bolton hunters fight alongside Handsome Jack on Elpis, Pandora's moon, inadvertently assisting with the rise of the Hyperion Corporation and his position within it, and witnessing his transformation into the ruthless tyrant. Cast on this one is Damien Clark, returned as Handsome Jack, Lydia McKay as Athena, Stephanie Young as Nisha, Brian Massey as Wilhelm the Enforcer, David Eddings as Claptrap, Kenesha Thompson as Lady Aurelia Hammerlock, Catherine Moore as Janie Springs, Brianna Paglensia as Moxie, Colleen Clinkenbeard as Lilith, Marcus Lloyd as Roland, Jason Liebrecht as Mordecai, Marcus M. Malden as Brick, Laurie Steele as Nurse Nina, J. Michael Tatum as Sir Hammerlock, Jennifer Green as Angel, Ashley Birch, Tiny Tina, Chris Rager, Mr. Torg, Randy Pitchford as Crazy Earl. And this was the first one we played.
In full.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe why it's my favourite.
It's mine as well. This one introduced a few minor sort of game mechanics in like low gravity and oxygen kits consumed out on the moon.
This is a more space venture than the others, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this is the one where you're actually on a planet that's not Pandora, you're on the moon. So it's like low gravity on parts of the planet. And you've got to keep your oxygen up because you can suffocate. It's a great mission where you are actually out in space.
Are you thinking of the one where there's the cannibals on the ship? Yeah.
Amazing.
That's something else I like about these games, especially the pre-sequel, how it just transitions into like a horror level all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because of what it is, it can just go through so many things with ease. Yeah. And you don't even question it. You're just like, okay, I'm doing that now.
Yeah.
Is the pre-sequel the one with Janie Springs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really good introduction, I think, to the game, to be on this, like, zero gravity.
Yeah.
In fact, that's not the introduction, is it? You get sent there after, because you're on, like, a ship being attacked with Handsome Jack.
I just want to say that this is, like, the first one where the characters you play as are all known from the previous game.
Yeah.
Because Nisha is a boss fight in 2.
Yeah, as is Wilhelm.
Yeah. Claptrap's your, like, little robot companion.
Yeah, he's all. He's just always got some annoying thing to say.
I think you mentioned Athena in DLC on the first one.
Yes, she's an assassin for Atlas, I think.
Yeah.
In the first one. Well, in the DLC on the first one.
No, I think she's off to get revenge on Atlas because they killed her sister.
Ah, right, and that's why she had been...
Yeah, she had...
and there's rumour she could be a siren.
Yeah.
But I played as her on my first playthrough of this, and I found her quite enjoyable because she's got this little shield. I forgot what it's called, the Aspis, I think, or something. Aspis. And she throws that out like Captain America, I guess. And that can do an array of things.
Yeah. I played with Nisha, so I was just shooting everything.
She's like your typical sheriff, like dual pistol. She's the only character, I think, in Borderlands that's had dual pistol.
Yeah, you can unlock dual pistol, but you've got to go through the right skill just to get it, and it's right near the bottom.
Well, she's got like a quick draw ability.
Yeah. Great one.
High noon, I think it's
High noon. Once that's active, everyone pretty much gets shot.
Yeah, and it goes slow-mo.
Yeah. I remember I was doing it and you were rolling computer.
Yeah, because I didn't know why I was going in slow motion.
I'd have got to kill everything. You were all right.
I'm like, why have I gone in slow motion to run up this corridor?
And I'm like, don't worry about it, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
You're like, who?
This doesn't seem to get the same love that 2 got.
No.
But there are the fans out there that do really like this, and I'm one of them.
A lot of people seem to complain that there weren't that much new features.
Which I think is ridiculous when you get the microgravity stuff and the oxygen tanks that you need to help breathe.
Some people had the characters weren't as good.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think is a bit ridiculous.
The thing with Borderlands is none of the characters are actually particularly great. But the longer they're in the franchise, they develop.
Yeah.
Also, it seems, into an actual 3D thing, because otherwise they're more like a cardboard cut out of a character archetype that you would know, which is part of the thing.
The thing that's different with this is how the story's told, because Athena is like the main.
Yes.
And she's captured by Lilith and the Crimson Raiders.
Yes. Yeah.
The original group. And Athena's being questioned by them at the beginning, and then she recites the whole sequel storyline. I did quite enjoy that aspect of it.
And it throws you in the action pretty much straight away as well compared to the others. The others, it's like, let's learn to walk, let's learn to shoot. And this is like, here's this, get on with it. It's, oh God, no.
Sure. Yeah, I like a lot of this one. I think this is the main reason I do quite like Jack as well.
I think a lot of people like Handsome Jack though.
I probably liked him on playing 2, but when I was playing 2, I'd have been like, he's the villain.
Yeah.
He's a likeable villain, but in this,
he's a very likeable villain.
I like seeing him become that villain as well.
Yeah. If I'm right, the actor of Jack does a lot of ad-libbing as well for his lines, and I think that adds to what makes him such a great, charming villain to have.
He's probably the most well-known character, to be fair, out of the villains.
And maybe a faceless psychos.
None of you playable. Outside with the non-playable character, he's probably the most recognized.
Yeah. Would it be too fast if we jumped to 3?
Not really.
Okay. Borderlands 3, 2019.
What is up, my bandit legions? God Queen Tyrene coming at you live with my brother Troy. We're streaming, you're screaming, and we're all ready to open the great vaults.
Directors Mo Davaudian and Paul Sage. Writers Connor Thomas Cleary, Danny Homan, Randall Varnell, and Samuel Winkler. The plot, taking place approximately 7 years after the events of Borderlands 2 and 6 years after the events Tales from the Borderlands, it begins with 4 new Vault Hunters as they join Lilith's Crimson Raiders, as new recruits sent to investigate the Children of the Vault and their mysterious leaders, the Calypso twins, Tyrene and Troy, who are believed to have the long-lost Vault Map. Upon reclaiming the Vault Map, the Crimson Raiders and allies board the Sanctuary 3 spacecraft to journey beyond Pandora to other planets throughout the galaxy to claim the vaults they hold before the Calypsos can steal their power for themselves. Cast: Sung-Won Cho as Flack, Marissa Lenti as Mose, Cyan Barry as Zane. It's an Irish name, so I could be saying that wrong. Zara Faisal as Amara, Colleen Clinkenbeard as Lilith and Patricia Tannis, Martha Harms as Maya, Felicia Angel as Ava, Jim Ferronda as Claptrap, Syrian Strange as Lorelei/Law. I think that's also known as, isn't it? I can't think who that is.
Her with the blue hair.
Ah, yes. Bruce DeBose as Marcus, Ray Chase as Reese, Chris Hardwick as Vaughn, Jamie Marchi as Ellie, J. Michael Turner as Sir Hammerlock, David Wald as Wainwright. Sorry guys, this is a really long list of names. It's because we've got reprising characters. Michael Cosner as Typhon, Michael Turner as Zero, Marcus M. Maldin as Brick, Jason Lebrecht as Mordecai, Ashley Birch as Tina, Elisa Melendez as Tyrene Calypso, Max Mittelman as Troy Calypso, Kenesha Thompson as Lady Aurelia Hammerlock, Brina Palencia as Mad Moxie, Jason Douglas as Krieg, Chris Rager as Mr. Torg, Rick Spiegel as Zed, Randy Pitchford as Crazy Earl. This one will get you guys. Ice-T as Balex, and Penn and Teller as Pain and Terror. I like the fact they've got some recognisable names in there as random characters. So, it seemed to get a bit of hate, just a tad, and I don't know why. Well, what I saw was the jokes are based on memes that are now really old and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mostly saw.
That doesn't stop it being great gameplay.
For me, the biggest part is the graphics seem to be more real and less cel-shady comic book.
Yeah.
Because that's something I particularly like. Although when you start playing, you still get used to it.
Yeah. 2 did update slightly from...
Yeah.
This was the biggest update.
Yeah. I don't even think it's been close to the worst Borderlands game, though.
No.
This one added some stuff as well in terms of mechanics, because now you have 3 skill trees to go at.
Yeah.
Well, before,
Now you have 3 different abilities within
those with their own skill trees. Yeah.
As before, you had an ability, but you had 3 different skill trees.
Yeah.
Updated that ability differently. It's this time it's built on that.
Yeah. For example, the easiest one for me to do is Flak. Yeah. He's the robot, and he's similar to Mordecai in the fact he's like a hunter class. Well, he's not, is he? Beastmaster in this, yeah. So he had 3 different creatures, and each one of them creatures would count as an ability. So depending which creature you chose to have with you, then depends on what skill trees you're allowed to build.
And then they added...
Yeah, DLC added a 4th type to each of them.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. And if you're not happy with how you're stacking them as well, you can go to, is it a new U station? No, the customization station.
Yeah.
You spend a fee and you get to restart your ability and whatnot.
You can do that in all of them.
Yeah, for the most part. I forgot to mention it though.
Yeah.
It's only now there I realised it's relevant to bring up. But did I mention they added like climbing and sprinting in this one?
Sliding?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But
right.
Yeah, it's in.
Yeah. Sadly, they didn't bring the micro-gravity back, did they?
In a level where you go.
There might be, actually. But I particularly enjoyed this one as well. So far, out the 4 we've discussed, I don't think there's a truly bad one.
No.
I think people will find it harder to pick up and play the first, just because of its slow, especially at the start. It's very trying to teach you how to shoot and what enemies are and how they work.
Like I said, I think the abilities are a bit more basic on the first one.
Yeah, in fact, there was something about the first one, and I'd like to go back to that a minute, because one of the key features in the Borderlands is it's randomly generated weapons and items created, either dropped by enemies, found in storage chests about the game, or just even on the ground as you're going around. It's the fact that the first one, I don't know if they've updated this in any way, they have something called procedural content creation system, and it'll create these random weapons and items, and they all have like varying firepower, rate of fire, accuracy, elements, because guns have elements in this. There's a range of elements from electric, corrosion,
cryo, fire.
Yeah. Slag, which is like its own thing where you get somebody with slag damage and then whatever damage you do after is more, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it can regenerate these things, according to Gearbox developers at the time of the first one, the random system could generate around 16 to 17 million variations of weapons. That's just on the first one. That will have now, I imagine, improved greatly by 3.
Possibly. If I'm right, 2, they said they'd updated it and they're a lot.
Yeah.
On 3, I think it sounds a bit more limited, because on 3, you mentioned how the brands of guns.
Yes.
On 3, it doesn't allow to mix parts from other guns, like other brands.
Ah, right, okay.
So it's manufacturers. So
yeah.
It's the manufacturer of, like...
Jacobs?
Yeah, Jacobs guns are my favourite.
You couldn't have it with Hyperion parts?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's limited or more, not.
It really depends on how many they've created in general then, doesn't it?
I remember 3, I seem to pick up more of the same weapon.
Yeah, but even then there'd be varying stats.
Yeah.
And depending where you are as well, because certain locations are supposed to be more prone to drop in certain...
Yeah. I was always happy with getting the revolver.
Yeah. In fact, I think Jacobs are the only manufacturers of revolvers, or they were on one of them anyway.
Jacobs are the only ones that make like classic sort of shotguns. Like
Western weapons, really, isn't it? Did nearly always have high firepower.
Yeah.
And probably low rate of fire.
Yeah. And they'd never have elemental. I think on 3 they have explosive.
Ah, explosives, yeah. That was a little...
Which was pretty cool.
But that's Toad's thing as well.
Yeah. Toads have like everything to a grenade launcher with Toad.
Yeah.
Every manufacturer has its own style.
And then just to mention a gun that just proves just how weird the Borderlands lore is, there's a gun known as the gun.
Yeah.
The gun will fire guns out of it at random as well, but you have to spend... You choose how much you're going to spend it in... Oh, I forgot what its currency is. Iridian? Yes, I think it is. Iridian, which is its like own special collective rocks. So depending on how much you spend, the better gun you're going to get out of it. The pre-sequel introduced that vending machine where it would splice guns together and put something together for you. Yeah, you dump guns in and you get something hopefully better out of it.
Yeah, I never got anything good.
No, I don't remember. I'd always only put crap weapons in there that I didn't want anyway. Like if I had the legendary weapon, there's no way I'd give that up. Oh, that's something we should maybe discuss. Going into like RPG route, I guess, as well, more than shooters. There's a class ranking of guns. White would be common.
Yeah.
Green would be less common, I guess. Blue? Purple?
Yes, there's blue, there's purple.
And then gold, legendary.
Yeah.
Purple was rare,
Yeah.
or super rare, I think. Blue was rare. Green was common, and white was very common.
Something like that.
And also, the higher up them classes of the gun, the more you'd be able to sell it for in a vending machine to get money.
Yeah.
Because there's vending machines for ammo, health, shields, like class mods and stuff. And then one for guns as well.
Yeah.
Mentioned Crazy Earl a couple of times because he's in, I think, all of them.
Yeah. You know.
And he's a sort of junkyard collector type character.
Yeah.
I mention that because he, in one of them anyway, has his own vending machine.
Yeah, that's in the third one.
Yes, on the ship, on Sanctuary 3. Something I mentioned in 2 in the pre-sequel is how it feels more expanded in terms of its lore. 3 adds more with the Calypso twins.
Yeah.
Because we're told that you can't have a male siren, yet the twins seem to share this siren ability, but he's like a leech.
Yeah.
He can only leech the siren ability for a while or something, it seems. I don't know if it was truly ever explained on how. And also the fact that we did mention you can go to other planets. It's not all Pandora now. You're going across to other planets to find vaults.
Yeah.
So it's quite an expansive game. And then the DLC added quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
In fact, the DLC for every Borderlands is probably worth getting if you've been enjoying it, because it does add a lot of extra playtime.
The DLC usually ends up being slightly relevant to the next one.
Yeah, because they put a free DLC pack out in just 2018 for Borderlands 2. I think it's 2018. The Commander Lilith pack.
Yeah.
And that all helps build up what Lilith isn't now, obviously Commander.
Yeah.
From just the first game. She's now Commander Lilith of the Crimson Raiders, and that helps set up their character arc throughout 3.
Yeah.
Again, like we mentioned in the first one, I can't remember what the DLC is called, but it's the one where Athena's relevant, and I think you're going after Commander Nox.
General Nox.
General Nox.
Yeah.
In fact, it might be called General Nox something or other, or something General Nox. And that becomes quite relevant, obviously, because you get Athena. That's her first appearance. And then she's in the story of the second one somewhere, I think, just briefly.
Yeah.
But obviously, then she is playable for definite anyway in the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
No characters for DLC on the Borderlands 3, though. Playable ones. But like you mentioned, you get the extra ability tree.
Yeah. They've really focused
So
on
for
new abilities.
Yeah.
New level up system in general. It's all new.
3 would be a good in for newcomers, I guess, because of that new type.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let it stop you from going back and playing 2 in the pre-sequel. I wouldn't particularly let you stop you playing 1, other than, like I said, 1 does feel a little
Dated.
Yeah. Also, Borderlands 3, I'd recommend playing it on a new-gen console. We got the PS4 edition, and it's a little buggy.
Yeah.
I can't remember why now. But it's clearly really pushing the system to play it, because it's a big game.
Yeah.
And there's a few other little problems here and there, I guess, with Borderlands. That mostly, I think, they seem to be when you play co-op.
Yeah. It happens when you're in the menu, so
Yeah.
do get out the menu
Yeah.
to select stuff.
Yeah, you've just made me recredit my gun from a favourite to a regular. Because if you don't mark your guns in your inventory as a favourite, there's a sell all option at the vending machines, and if you haven't marked it as favourite, then it will sell it, and then you have to buy it back, unfortunately.
The amount of times I accidentally sold the gun.
It's awful, because you get quite a big inventory on these that you can carry, but obviously that involves partly upgrading and so on. But they're very good games in terms of how they let you level up. It's not going to let you get crazy leveled up, because to do that, you'd have to really hit the end of the game to be max rank.
Yeah.
I don't even think you get max rank on first playthrough in any of these.
No, you have to go through, like, New Game Plus.
Yeah, and start again.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, because, yes, it does actually limit you on your, what's it called? That you'd actually use, equipped items, basically. Because you start with just one gun, don't you?
Yeah.
Is it 2 gun slots you start with? I can't remember now. Or is it just gun and shield? But you basically slowly get your class mods and 4 weapon slots. And the 4th weapon slot normally comes somewhere in the 3rd or 4th quadrant of the game. Yeah. But these games are pretty fast in terms of, like, main story. I couldn't tell you how long it takes to complete main story, because we normally do all the side missions as we go along to keep to a certain level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it starts and gets a bit grueling in story if you're not doing them side quests. I mean, you could, I guess, just go around harvesting the enemies in the area, but that's a lot of hard work, because you got to wait for them to respawn and start again.
Yeah.
And just killing an enemy isn't going to get you enough XP eventually, especially when you're higher up, to keep leveling up.
Yeah.
So the leveling up system does actually work, I think, for progressing through the story quite well.
third one updated the mission and level status thing, because I think that one actually updated with you as well.
Right, okay. The enemies did, if I'm right. On some of the old ones, you could go back to some of the first areas and the enemies would still be like level 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I think on 3, if you went back to the beginning area, the enemies are maybe just a level below you.
Yeah.
At them earlier stages.
Yeah.
I think 100% on that. It has been a while since I played these. Do you want to move on to Tales from
Borderlands, yeah, from 2014.
One of us moves up, we all move up.
This latest scam was our biggest yet. The one that would set us up for life.
Directors Nick Herman, he's the series director, and then Martin Montgomery, Ashley Rule, and Jonathan Stoder. And the writers, Shorett is the lead writer. There's Adam Hines, Jeremy Roswell, Chuck Jordan, Eric Sturp, Anthony Birch, and Zach Keller. The plot, first one, Tales from the Borderlands is an episodic adventure set in the Borderlands universe. The story follows two protagonists, Reese, a Hyperion employee, and Fiona, a Pandoran con artist. Their quest for the Vault Keys leads them through 5 episodes. And it stars Troy Baker as Reese, Laura Bailey as Fiona, Erin Evita as Sasha, Chris Hardwick as Vaughn, Norman Hall as Felix, Patrick Wobton as Vasquez, Nolan North as August, Sola Banis as Odette, Damien Clark, Nansen Jack, Michael Turner as Zero, Bruce DeVos as Marcus, Brianna Palencia as Mad Moxie, Mikey Newman as Scooter, Marcus M. Malden as Brick, Jason Liebrecht as Mordecai.
For anyone new to Telltales, because this is a Telltales game, it's a choose-your-own-adventure, I guess, like interactive movie.
Yeah.
This is one of my favourite Borderlands. But the story and the character depth and growth is very different to what you get in the Borderlands universe with this one, I think.
Yeah.
Because you're actually spending time with the characters and watching them develop through the story.
Yeah.
Normally your characters don't particularly develop other than you clicking on skills to level them up.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a diss, but they're very different games.
Like I said, though, on the other ones, the playable characters, they progress in later games.
Yeah, if they ever return.
Yeah.
Or you learn they've progressed in some way, but here they're actually progressing through the 5 episodes.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic little story with great use of music. There's some great songs in this.
Yeah, this is an episodic.
Yeah, I think when it was released, I think you were getting 1 a week.
Yeah.
Or 1 a month or something. I can't quite remember now. Yeah. But they weren't all there to play us at once. I had so much fun playing that. I think I played it 2, 3, maybe 4 times. Definitely played it twice.
Yeah.
I think you even maybe played it twice.
I did a playthrough.
But I definitely had more than 1 playthrough.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. As you noticed, he read Handsome Jack again, so he's back. But this is actually set, because you mentioned about the storytelling being different on the pre-sequel, and this is a little similar to that, if I remember right.
It's sometime after Borderlands 2, and just before the pre-sequel's prologue and epilogue, which is the parts where Athena is captured.
Yeah.
So it's before Athena gets captured by the Cruiser Raiders.
I mean, it's just a spin-off. It's not an essential play. But they made Reese, who is the playable character in this, I guess one of the main characters within the franchise, by 3.
Yeah.
He's not playable now, obviously.
No.
But he's in charge of Hyperion? Has he took over Hyperion? Atlas. Yes, which is Hyperion's rival.
Yeah.
And he's had some character growth, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got like a little resistance army in 3.
Yeah. Zero's in that, and he goes on to be like his bodyguard.
Yeah, it seems that way anyway. He's one of his top guys, also it seems.
Yeah.
Which is great. Just a great, fun little side venture, I guess. And I don't think any level took more than 2 hours. So if you were really wanting to, you could get this done in a day.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the play type that it is.
Yeah.
But I think even if you don't enjoy the play type, I think you'll enjoy the story.
Yeah.
Just go along with it as it goes. It's a very easy play.
Yeah.
For some people, this would maybe be the best into Borderlands.
Probably, yeah. With this is where you get a lot of story, like you said. The story is like a big thing for you and characters.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best one to go into.
Yeah. Also, Telltale's, the game developers went bust. I can't think when now. It's
quite a while ago.
Maybe 3-4 years after that game.
Yeah.
So it disappeared off people's online stores, off the PlayStation Store, so there was no support for it, so you couldn't play it anymore. But Gearbox were fortunate enough to be like, well, that's part of our canon now. And they paid, I think, Steam? I'm not sure. Or maybe just did it themselves, but they paid to have the upkeep of Tale from the Borderlands to keep it online, basically, so you could still go back and play it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But if, like me, you had a Telltale account, a lot of your ranking systems would drawn offline. You couldn't see comparisons anymore, what choices people made.
Yeah.
Because that's it. Because it's choose your own. You basically get this or that throughout the whole game. And it allows you to have different stories each time, only slightly different. You can see how it's written, where it can come back round if you play it enough.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2022 now, so this is the most recent one, is new Tales from the Borderlands.
Most stories in the Borderlands start bloody. They end bloody too.
Directed by Paul Ferminga and Chad Smith. Written by Lynn Joyce and Doug Lieblich, taking the lead writing roles. And then Anthony Birch and Amanda Schuckman as writers. So Anthony Birch is back as a writer on this one. That's interesting. The plot is, set about a year after Borderlands 3, weapon manufacturer Tediore begins invading the place. Always a weapons manufacturer, and I think that's a good critique. Planet Promethea, Anurada Dar, I hope I'm saying the name, also known as Anu, Octavia Wallace Dar, and Francine Miskowitz. Each with their own hopes and dreams fight against Tediore agents and monsters and criminals that roam the planet. The trio must also work together as they seek a vault key which may grant them access to a vault stashed with treasures that may change their lives forever. The cast is Michelle Ramberos as Anurada Anudar and Diego Stredel as Octavia Wallisdar, Lucia Frangione as Francine Fran Miskowitz, Tamaper Hodson as Louis, Ray Chase as Reese Strongfolk, Samantha Ferris as Susan Caldwell, and Bruce DeBose as Marcus Kincaid. So this is the most recent one, and I think it's the most recent Telltale game.
Yeah.
And the next one I think should be Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah.
This is very different from the other Telltale games I've played, though. Normally, it's not so much side-scroller, but this actually feels more like a video game. You're walking around the map now a little more and having to look at things.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but it didn't feel like a Telltale's game. It felt like a little video game where I had to make some choices here and there. And there are more choices to make now. And you can't just play it and get all the trophies through one playthrough. You now actually have to go around and play it again, making other choices to get more trophies, which is nice as a trophy hunter like myself. I didn't find a lot of this as interesting as I have in past Borderlands games.
No.
Louis is a great character. He's not playable, sadly. The only three you play as are Anu, Octavio, and Fran.
Yeah.
And I do like how their interactions work as the stories intermingle, because you get 3 stories and they slowly start to interlock, which is great.
Yeah.
But Louis is an assassin bot or something like that. I can't quite remember, but
yeah, it's great.
He's fantastic. And it's L0U13 for Louis.
Yeah.
And he's just such a fantastic character, and I wish I could think of a quote from him now as an example of just some of the great wit that character has. But he was my favourite thing in the entire game.
Yeah.
Although learning Samantha Ferris voiced Susan Caldwell, who was the game's villain, is quite interesting. I only learnt that today as we were recording.
Yeah.
People that Supernatural will know her as Ellen. Yes. The story of this one, there's some really interesting parts, but there's a bit, and it's like, I don't know if it's too kooky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Fran is in this, like, hover chair that's got all these little different abilities to it, but I don't know, it just felt a bit weird. Anu was quite an interesting character. She's a scientist working for, I think, had she been working for Tediore and left? Or was she working? She was working
for her.
Atlas, I think, yeah.
She's tied to Reese.
Yeah, she's trying to find a way to make a gun powered by, I can't think, or to make, she wants to make non-lethal weapons anyway.
Yeah.
That was her thing.
Yeah.
And that was quite an interesting angle. Like I said, it's not a bad game by any means, and it's not a bad story. I think for a Telltale's game, I wanted a little more that Telltale's vibe.
Yeah.
Whoever the new company are that holds it now, they've clearly gone with a slightly new direction to maybe appeal to more of a gaming audience. Because Telltale games, they've always done well by a certain fan base, but amongst regular gamers, they don't seem to like Telltale games. It's like I couldn't really do anything. I just had to choose.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's part of the fun. Yeah. It's an interactive movie more than it is a video game.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is lent more into video game with some story choices having to be made.
Yeah.
What I did like about this, though, is, like I said, I think there's more choices you make now. Normally it would be 2 or 3, but here there's maybe 3 or 4 in each scenario, which is great because that adds to the playability.
Yeah.
Even though I've only done 1 playthrough on this one so far. I do want to go back.
I haven't even played.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the Borderlands games. If there's any more you want to say about this one.
I didn't really play it. So.
Yeah. Oh, there's costume changes now on this. That was
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like many of the designs at all.
No, they were pretty horrific.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
Took a lot longer for these characters to grow on me on this one as well.
Yeah. I think I'm now actually feeling ready to do a replay of that, though. Oh, yeah, there's collectibles on this one.
Yeah, they had a collectible.
Because every so often you'll bump into a guy, I can't remember his name. Was it just like Vault Hunter fan or something like that? And then you had to like do a little battle with him.
He's a fan of the, what is it, Bunkers and Badasses.
Yeah, which is like a Dungeons and Dragons themed Borderlands, I guess. I don't know.
No,
Or like Beyblades with figures of the Borderlands characters.
What's the Bunkers and Badasses game that they played? I think that was another one.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just it reminded me because I think you'll want to discuss the comics in a minute. But in the comic book, it's the Claptrap plays Bunkers and Badasses.
Ah, right, okay. And while we mentioned about just weird sort of games like that, I would like to mention there is a Borderlands board game from Monster Fight Club.
Yeah.
Called Mr. Tog's Arena of Badasses.
Yeah.
We've only played the first scenario. Not sure if we've played it correctly. It's one of them board games where there are a lot of rules to it, but it seems like it's going to be good fun when we've figured it out.
Yeah. You have every Bolt Hunter from the game available, plus a few others.
If you get the expansions.
Yeah, you get the expansions anyway. If you get the regular one, it's just Mordecai,
Amara,
Mose, and
is it somebody else from 3? No, Amara, Mose, Mordecai,
Salvador.
But there is an expansion box. I think it's called the Badasses. What is it called? That one.
I'm not sure.
But basically, it's like every playable Vault Hunter.
Yeah.
Plus, I think you've got Tiny Tina in there as playable.
Yeah, Tiny Tina, Mr. Tog.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to figuring that game out.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be fun. Just to wrap up, do you want to quickly jump into the comics?
Yeah.
I read these a while ago. I had you read them just for this, so it would be nice to touch on them.
The comic book. There's Borderlands Origins from 2012 to 2013, and that's written by Mike Newman, who he's a writer on the game. Art by Augustin Padilla, and it's edited by Tom Waltz, who
is a co-writer on the IDW Turtles run.
Yeah.
Which would have started around then.
Yeah, it started the year before this. Anyway, colours by Esther Sands. Anyway, the Origins series, there was 4 issues focused on the first 4 Vault Hunters from the game. So it's Roland, Lily, Mordecai, and Brick.
Yeah.
And it's how they all got to the...
where you meet them in the game.
Yeah, they got bought at the opening of the first game. So it focuses on Roland and his little unit from the Crimson Lands, which was Boozer, Avery, and Scraps. And they get set up. I don't really want to mention like the whole story.
Yeah, it's a little bit 18, I guess, just to give somebody an idea.
I guess. I won't say 18. It's just his last mission at Atlas.
Yeah.
Lilith was a strange one. It was just her father dies of unknown
ailments.
He just seems to be dying.
Yeah.
Then she meets an old woman who's a siren. I say she's an old woman. You don't really get a good look at her.
Yeah.
And she goes on about sirens and this, that, and the other. And it mentions how you'll meet other sirens.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I think it says that sirens are drawn to Pandora in that.
Oh, there is something like that somewhere, yeah. I bet it is in that.
I think Mordecai had an interesting backstory.
His was my favourite when I read these.
You meet him, he's left for dead. He's found by this woman named Esime.
Yeah.
And she just takes him on a trip across the deserts of Pandora. And they have a bit of a run-in. And I thought it was pretty cool. Briggs was very...
Is that a story you wouldn't expect, though, isn't it, I think, for Brick?
Yeah, he's working with some other thugs at this time or something. I don't really know who they were.
I wondered if it's a precursor to the Slabs, which is his team he has when you meet him again after 1. They're like a gang that work for him.
Mm. Yeah, he becomes the Slab King or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a strange one. He gets given a puppy at the end of it. Yeah, there seems to be a thing with him. If you notice, he gets a new... there seems to be a dead dog thing going with him.
Does that?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the first one, he's got a paw of his dog round his neck. Then the second one, there's another dog paw.
Right.
And I think by the third one, there's another one.
I've not noticed that detail with him at all.
Either had I. And I've read this now. I was with this dog, and it shows how much interest I have in Brick in comparison to like the other.
I've noticed his outfit seems to change a lot more than other. Well, Mordecai's as well. Their outfits seem to change a lot more than everyone else's throughout the games. Yeah. Lilith's always been very samey in her get-up.
I quite liked some of the concept art notes that were in here with...
Oh, do you want to go into that?
Yeah, I think Roland had a couple. One said, 2 colonial marines
Yeah.
which I thought was funny because Aliens,
Yeah.
which Aliens Colonial Marines game got screwed over for Borderlands. And then another bit of concept art was more Mad Max, and they'd given the leg brace, I think.
All right. Okay.
And I just thought this was a bit weird because it was, I don't know if this was for the comic book or for the game.
Oh, for the game. One of the game's lead designers, I think, for the game, the first game, it was a comic book artist they brought in, and the original games designer left Gearbox in a bit of a huff, apparently.
Right.
So I wonder if he is the comic artist they had for the game,
Maybe.
for the first game anyway.
And then on Lilith's concept art, it said Domino eye makeup. And she had the eye done like Domino for X-Men, or as some people might know it.
Deadpool 2.
Yeah. That's it on the origin. Then they did another comic book series.
Yeah. Where I'm assuming it was supposed to be more ongoing.
Yeah. It did the first volume, The Fall of Firestone, and the second volume,
Yeah.
Tannis in the Vault. And it went from 2014 to 15. It's pretty much the same creative team. And it went through the first game story in very rapid succession. And it introduced this young girl, Claptrap, seems to have been friends with
Tate.
Yeah, Tate. And then she says I don't know, shall I go into that? Or
if you want.
She says that her name was Asher, and she has this other bigger thing, which you can probably figure out from what we've mentioned from the games we've mentioned as well. And then she just disappears. She's only in the comic book. She was nothing to do with the first game or anything. That made no sense to me.
Yeah, and they really do like blitz through that early storyline with Ninetoes in that first volume of The Fall of Firestone.
Yeah, well, they focus on that quite a bit, but yeah, they do go through it quite quickly. And then the second volume is a Tannis in the Vault. That just blitzed through like everything in the Vault.
Yeah.
And saying,
Yeah. I mean, if you put that together, you've kind of got a little bit of extra backstory on Tannis now.
Yeah.
Who's going to be played by Jamie Lee Curtis in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is a casting I'm not happy on for Tannis.
No, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest letdown with the movie so far. That, and you said apparently it's a PG-12 or PG-13, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Don't bother too much.
But I'm assuming we'll get a maturer cut, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah. I hope so. I don't think it's a franchise that needs extreme language. And
no.
I don't really feel it needs blood and gore. Like I said, they can have a lot of fun with it. They've got shields and stuff like that in the games that do odd quirks and things like that. So it's not like...
It's just that for me, like, with the Borderlands games, I love being able to shoot people's heads off, and that seems to be a thing. Especially when you think how violent the psychos are.
Yeah.
I think the psychos are going to be treated a bit more like a joke.
Yeah.
Like, they'll build them up to be something and then just quickly whack them off.
Yeah, probably. But we'll find out.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm hoping to put a mini-sode out for Borderlands.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are, but if not, right, I'll try and do it by myself.
You talk to yourself.
I can't edit. I can't record. I can't research. I mean, this whole episode is pretty much put together by Thomas, this one. Mostly due to my illness and my disdain for Borderlands.
Yeah, you do have a disdain for Borderlands. I'm still refusing to play the second Self-Build.
But honestly, people say that the film doesn't look funny, or it doesn't look this, or it looks like it's trying to copy this, that, and the other, when what I'm seeing is it's copying Borderlands.
Yeah.
My only problem is the music. It's not a song that I would imagine playing in Borderlands. It works in the trailer, though, but I've noticed it's like an edited version of that song.
I think they might just use them songs for the trailers. I'm hoping for more familiar Borderlands-like songs with it.
Or even soundtrack, because the Borderlands has a pretty decent score in parts.
Yeah.
It's a little bit Western, a little bit this, that, and the other. Because, like I said, the genre of the games are up and down everywhere, and such an amalgam of thing, and so is the music. Oh, we never mentioned the Tiny Tina does have a spin-off game. It's a fantasy game like Dungeons and Dragons, and it's basically like you get to create your own character basically in this new fantasy world, which is just Borderlands reskinned.
Yeah.
It's not as refined as what Borderlands 3 is. It feels like it's made by a backup team on a minimum budget, but there's a lot of fun in it and a lot of heart there, I think. I kind of hope they do a Tiny Tina Wonderlands 2.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
And I would like a second playthrough of it, actually, because it's quite a big game.
Yeah.
And I only got one playthrough. Gameplay's great, and you get to like merge two skill trees on that one.
Yeah.
You could be like a whatever class with a something else.
Yeah.
Start as a primary one, and then you get a little further in. It's like, here's another one you want if you want to slap it together. It's like, yeah, I do.
I will say that there is DLC for Borderlands 2, which is very watched.
Yes, it's almost like a trial.
Yeah.
For it. But I don't want to spoil the particular reason of why, because it's quite a nice reason, I think, and really adds some heart and emotion into the franchise.
Yeah. Pretty solid game as well.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad game.
No, like I said, the worst one for me was the second Tales from.
Yeah.
But I think that's more to do with the new team and finding out what it is. And I just think I went in there with expectations and it didn't meet it because of how much I love the first Tales from.
Yeah, I really like the characters.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Normally, the Telltale's games, they pick up the story from the last.
Yeah.
But it does say new Tales from the Borderlands, so I guess it helps in that.
The characters are good, but they weren't as good as the previous ones for me.
No, but speaking of Tales from the Borderlands and the characters in that, Fiona, her character has a novel currently out from the writer of Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Which I think is Anthony Birch.
Yeah.
I think he's the author of the novel.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not him, it has to be Matthew Armstrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Birch.
Yeah.
And that's a book that I want to be reading soon. I was hoping it would come to Audible. It hasn't yet. Because if they got the Fiona voice actress to do the narration of the book, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. It was Laura Bailey.
Yeah, I thought it was. She's a big-time voice actress in the video game world. And this has become a bit of a monster episode.
So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. And remember to join us again next week as we're doing something a little different as we discuss Alex Proyer's cult classic film The Crow and its original comic of the same name created by James Abella. Thank you.
Goodbye.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead.